is FSPN. My name is Frankie from Flatbush. On a Friday night, it's 1800 hours on the East Coast of America. It's May the 15th, 2026, and this is the Frankie from Flatbush theme song.
Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustle and dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin on the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go. Always on the go.
Get this party started, somebody once said. Hello, it's Friday evening. We have the schedule. We have the roster. We have it all. Let's see who's in the chat, if we have anybody here in the chat. We got Phil Adams over here. He's from England. He's over there. It's a lot later over there in England than here on the East Coast of America. We got Joe Mike over here. Joe Mike and Phil Adams, both members of the Inner Circle. You could be a member of the Inner Circle if only you would click the join button, and for $2 a month, you get so much extra stuff, it'll make your head spin. It's almost too much stuff. Let me just be honest about it. Mark Sachetti's here. Then you got Alan Dodds over here. Alan Dodds is a New Paltz legend. A New Paltz rugby legend. In particular, you want to know about New Paltz rugby? Back in the day, you could ask the Book of Deuteronomy. He's got it all written down, all nice and neat. Got it all organized. I mean, these are some of the best people that have ever been chatting in live stream chats, and they've all decided, for the most part, to join up in the Inner Circle to get all the extras. And here you are, and you're not sure what to do. You're a little hesitant, okay? And yet, all of the legends of the chat have decided to join. I mean, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Joe Mike says, F is for Frankie, F is for Friday, F is for Flatbush. Yeah! F everybody. and everything. Yeah. If you believe in the F, you'll be relieving your stress, as they say. Look, Matthias Simon's even here. Loving the intro. Sashetti agrees. Metatrends Mark agrees. Jefe Muchacha Ocho is here. And she says, Frankie, I think you're the only Jets content creator who actually looks at other teams' rosters instead of logos. In evaluating predictive wins and losses, really frustrating to hear. Well, it just tells you the value of this channel as opposed to all those other bums. I mean, these other people, they don't even watch football. You know, when I get off this live stream, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be watching football. I'm going to be scouting Geno Smith, as a matter of fact. And by the way, all the people who are in the inner circle, you're going to get probably 3 members-only videos about the scouting results of Geno Smith when he was, with Seattle. The exact scouting system I use, all of the information, the grades, the points, the system, and then a little film study as well to show you, okay, that's great, Frankie, but what about, we got to show us on the film, don't you? And so we'll show a little film as well to say, look at this throw, look what this guy can do over here. And so these other content creators, they don't either have time because they're so focused on their channel. Like, there's a lot you have to do to optimize your channel and to get all these subscribers. You see these people with all these subscribers? Like, that's not easy. You have to do so much stuff other than producing content. You got to clip it up. You got to put it over here. You got to do marketing over there. You got to do the thumbnail. You got to get these thumbnails right. What about this title? We got to optimize that. Like, it's hard. And so if your total focus is just getting subscribers, we all want more subscribers, but how much time do you have left to actually do scouting or watch football of any kind? Most of them aren't going to watch any college football, which is a shame because college football is amazing. And then on top of that, I mean, it's summertime now. There's not a lot going on. Why isn't somebody doing a deep dive like I am into Geno Smith or, Tim Patrick or whatever, David Onyemata or whatever you might want to look at? That'd be fun because you have to love football. I think a lot of Jet fans and a lot of football fans are actually dopamine addicts. What? They just love the thrill of victory or the agony of defeat, as they used to say. That's all they care about. They don't care about the actual game, like the actual playing of the game. And I think that's a shame. I think American football is the greatest sport ever invented. I love it. And so we watch a lot of it here on FSBN. That's how I come to my conclusions. How other people come to their conclusions, I don't know. Vibes. But, more. Listen, Hefe. Look at my subscriber number. Very low. So obviously these other people, if they got a bigger subscriber number, they're doing it right and I'm doing it wrong. But all I can do is do it my way, like Sinatra said. I did it my way. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people seem to like these other people, Hefe. Look at their subscriber numbers. Look at their member numbers. Look at their Patreons. Look at all the things. I don't have much. So I guess they're doing it right and I'm doing it wrong. But you know what? We're going to continue doing it my way here on this channel. FSPN, Hefe. That's the way we do it over here. Then you got JoJo over here. JoJo's around when we were doing the scouting system. Remember JoJo? With all the quarterbacks, and when I first was testing it out. JoJo was there. He saw it. He knows what's going on. He said, Colts and Cowboys, schedule's looking difficult. Cowboys have the talent, but Shoddy is their coach. Let's not forget that. Yeah, and whether he's a great head coach or terrible or somewhere in the middle, we don't know. So far, just had one disappointing year, but they didn't really have any defense, so that kind of is bad. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, that's a beautiful thing about this season. You root for the Cowboys to lose, you root for the Colts to lose, and you root for the Jets to win. And if it just so happens the Jets lose, you go, all right, well, that helped our draft pick. Well, you kind of can't lose either way. Dodes says, your schedule analysis was great as per usual. Well, thank you, Dodes. And then I did check out the Badlands Bros. Sometimes, even Frankie needs to check out somebody to do what's called in the scouting business a cross-check. We need a cross-checker over here, right? To make sure I'm not out of my fucking mind, right? Like, for some things, I actually use the Badlands Bros for a cross-check. See what their opinions are. Make sure they're not, like 180 degree different than mine. And if you watch their show, most of those guys had the team at 8 or 9 wins. There was one guy on there had him like 5, but so they were right in line with me. I mean, I was a little more optimistic than most, but it was 1 or 2 wins. It's that's right in the bucket, as we could say. So even though I was going after we were done, I was like, am I being too optimistic? Am I not understanding something? And then I went back and watched more Geno, and every Geno fucking game I watch with Seattle, it's like he's making elite throws all over the place. I'm like, what am I missing here? But how many people who are down on the Jets really have went back and watched Geno playing with Seattle? It's not that long ago. And I think it's relevant because you kind of have to throw the Raiders thing out. They were so bad. And so how many people who have opinions about the Jets this season actually have watched any Seattle Seahawk football with Geno Smith as quarterback? That's what you have to ask yourself. And, of course, a lot of people also just look at the Vegas line, and Vegas has us at 5.5. So they say, well, Geno stinks, 5.5, 6 wins, 7 wins, something. But I think in this case, I actually think Vegas is off because I don't think they're properly valuing Geno in particular. So we'll see. Matthias Simon, the Cardinals might not win a game. Yeah, I mean... they're definitely gonna have a high pick, the Cardinals. So, and as long as we beat them, I don't care. Chris Colfer, F is for Florida. Yeah. Joe Mike says, Frankie, I think you could have released a better Jets schedule video than the Jets did. It's funny, Joe. They showed the front office sports put together a list of all the top the videos of all the teams and which ones got the most views, and the Jets came in second place. Can you believe it? The Chargers came first because the Chargers are just far and away the best every year, and this year didn't disappoint either. And by the way, when you watch the Chargers video, right? It makes you think we should form like a Jets meme team. You know what I mean? Because what the Chargers do, they have a team. It's not called the meme team, but they keep a spreadsheet of every weird thing that happens with every other team in the league. Like when something's in the news that's weird or funny that they can make fun of, they put it into the spreadsheet. They link to it probably. And then when it's time to make the video, they have this whole list of stuff that they can make fun of the other teams with because, this happened to you and this and da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, I started thinking, what if we, the Frankie Inner Circle, created like a Jets meme team where we created some memes during the year, not just for schedule release. Whenever anything funny happened with some of these other teams. Like right now, we would be memeing the hell out of the Patriots with Dirty Diana and disgusting Mike Vrabel over there. Right? Like as one example. Yeah? But I don't know. That was just an idea I had. Looking forward to minicamp. Yeah, there's not going to be much at minicamp. I mean, Matthias says, Joe Blewett, the only other guy. Yeah, Blewett does a good job also. I mean, there's a few. There's a few out there. But Blewett does a good job. I agree, Matthias. he at least looks at it. Now, Joe's problem is when he's in fan mode, he's a little overly negative. So you got to be careful with Joe Blewett. But when he's in analyst mode, he's excellent. I think he's one of the best. And so there's that. But yeah, he's a film guy. Film is, as somebody once said, film is where the money is. It's not the statistics. It's really not. Phil says more Jets fans will find Frankie when the Jets start winning. I guess. Joe Mike, Frankie, we're down to 2 kickers, Creek and York. Mougey gonna wait till the roster cuts? Maybe, but McManus is available now. Daniel Carlson is also available now. So we could sign either one of those immediately if we wanted to. But he could wait for cuts and somebody shakes loose. I mean, all these teams with 2 kickers, 3 kickers, they're not going to keep them. So, what if one of the ones he likes he knows is going to get cut or thinks he's going to get cut? So I wouldn't worry about it. Kicker's not a position where you need a guy to be in camp, right? Think about it. So we'll have a kicker. Maybe Lenny Creek wins the job. How about Leggy Lenny? Let's give him a shot. Why not? Phil Adams, no prime time, no international games, no excuse for the Jets not to get at least 8 wins. Yeah, I agree. And Dum Brian Costello has an article he just put out. Ladies and gentlemen, and the title is, The NFL Isn't Doing the Jets Any Favors with Their Schedule. What? In fact, the NFL did all the favors to the Jets. And I quote tweeted him on X and said, this is actually the opposite of the truth, for fuck's sake. But you see, you have people like this schmuck, Brian Costello, the king of the Pop-Tarts. And how do you write an article? The NFL isn't doing the Jets any favors with their schedule. What? They gave them a great schedule. What are you even talking about? Oh, we have all 1 o'clock games if you count the 4 o'clock games as local time, 1 o'clock. Every single one. And all of them on Sundays. That's beautiful. What are they even talking about? Do they understand that the Detroit Lions are, not the same team they were 2 years ago? Not even close? And that the Packers defense is not really that great if you take Micah Parsons out of the lineup? Does anybody want to look at these teams instead of just going, oh, Jordan Love, okay, yeah, so they must be good. Yeah. Jared Goff, he's good, right? Oh, yeah, I remember that, okay. Like, there's a whole team you should look at, So fucking annoying. Hefe says, I think a lot of the creators down on the Jets is because they detest Glenn and don't trust he and Reich as coordinators. Yeah. I don't know how you detest Aaron Glenn. I really don't. I mean, how stupid do you have to be to think his rookie season as a head coach was just going to go perfectly? Like, how dumb are you? Of course it was going to be bad. Especially when I was sitting there telling you the roster is terrible and then we traded away Quinnen and Sauce. I mean, I told you in the summertime that the roster is going to get us killed. That's a little bit on Glenn because he's part of the front office in a way, but I mean, we had a rookie head coach and a rookie general manager, and they made a lot of mistakes in the free agency period in figuring out how to stock the team with players. So thinking that it was just going to be great, I mean, that's on the people. I mean, kind of nutty if you think about it. Chargers always have the best content. Yep. Hefe, how about venereal? Now that's a good one, Hefe. All right, I'll give you that one. Some of these other things you came up with, not so bueno. But this one, okay, you got it. Venereal Vrabel. I like it. Yep. That's a good one. Hefe. Venereal Vrabel. Yeah. You got to hit the similar sounds. Venereal Vrabel. That's perfect. Could be in the meme name. Yeah. So, like, if we created some memes, that'd be one way to do it. Dirty Diana and Venereal Vrabel. All the rotten crotches hanging out together. Flatbush Dre is here. He's got something to say, everybody. He says, hey, Frankie, I would appreciate 8 dubs this year. At least 8 dubs, Flatbush Dre. Let's say at least. At least 8. Let's get at least 8. 8 would be a nice number. I'd like to get to 9 because then you could say, hey, we tripled our wins from the previous year. You know, what more could you expect? And but I also think 10 is realistic, actually. We went through it last night, Flatbush Dre. I went through all the teams, all these people who think the Detroit Lions are some incredible team, the Packers are some juggernaut. They're not. Their defense is very vulnerable. Yes, Jordan Love is good. And yes, their wide receivers are good. And yes, they have a good running back. But their offensive line, a little shaky. And the defense without Micah Parsons, very shaky. So we can compete with them. And they're coming here. We don't have to go to Lambeau. You know. Matthias says, 1 o'clock games, it's a good thing. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I'm saying, Matthias. You know, the New York Post is putting out an article saying that somehow the NFL screwed us with the schedule. No. What? That's the opposite. What is wrong with these people? All 1 o'clock games, including the fact that the 4 o'clock games are 1 o'clock in their, time in the West Coast. Basically, all 1 o'clock Sunday games the entire year. That's beautiful. No international travel, no short weeks. We don't got to play on a fucking Wednesday or a Thursday after a Sunday. You know how hard that is? I mean, it's beautiful. This might be the year, people. Telling you, we got enough talent. Plus, I think we're getting Seattle Plus with Geno. And we have this schedule where we're not traveling all over the place. We don't have any international. We don't have any short weeks. I mean, what could be better? We don't want any prime time. We're not prime time material right now. When you're in the ghetto, you don't go on prime time and celebrate the ghetto. Here, look at my ghetto fucking, trailer park trailer. No, that's not for us right now. We're trying to get our shit together. We're scraping up our pennies. We're trying to, get a promotion at work. We're trying to, scrape by and, keep our expenses low. Try to get a little more money in and try to somehow crawl out of the ghetto and move into the middle class neighborhood. Then we could talk about some prime time. But right now, no. We got a trailer in the trailer park in the ghetto, and it's not even a nice one. It's not even a double wide. So we don't belong on prime time. Who the hell wants to be in primetime when you're like that? Now we got to prove that we can crawl on our hands and knees and get out of the damn NFL ghetto where all the losing teams live and get into the middle class neighborhood. Then we can talk about prime time and special games and this and that. Right now, we're just trying to figure out how to snap the ball to the quarterback properly. After that, maybe we'll figure out how to throw a forward pass properly. After that, we'll focus on running the ball properly. After that, we'll focus on tackling, and so forth and so on. Cafe says, are you going to do any live streams with Green Bean and Jeremy this season? This is a popular question. Philip Adams also asked me this question, Hefe. Did you know that? Why is everyone asking this question? Did Green Bean say something? I think Hefe and Phil Adams maybe share a brain sometimes. Because a lot of times they have the same type of questions. And the answer is no, I'm not. I have to tell you, it's not very enjoyable to be doing a live stream with a live chat while I'm trying to... Remember, when I'm watching the game, I'm scouting the game. I have my drive charts. Okay, nobody else has drive charts but old Frankie. There's another thing that I got that nobody else got. So I have to do my drive charts. I'm keeping track of all the stuff that I'm watching, and then I got to watch the game and react to it and then be on camera, and then the chat is saying things, and Green Bean's saying things to me, and Jeremy. It's chaotic, man. And so it's not exactly an enjoyable way to spend an afternoon. So I'm not doing any live streaming, not going on any channels. I'll do we'll do coffee with Frankie at 10 a.m. We'll take it up to 11:30 or so. And then we go off the air and I'll come back with a game recap. So the answer is negative on that one. Jersey for Hawks. All right, he's part of the membership as well. Okay, gang, our floor is 6 wins, 10 the absolute ceiling, plus we will be competitive in each game. Well, I wouldn't say 10 is the absolute ceiling. Why couldn't we win 11? Here's how we could win 11. We could have 10 wins before the 18th week, and then Buffalo has nothing to play for, plays all their backups, and we beat them and get an 11th win. Why not? Why not? So glad to have depth at cornerback, says Hefe. Whenever a team has a weak cornerback playing, opposing OC just exploits it. If all shows well in camp, what is the best starting cornerback and DB lineup? Well, if they all play well, if everybody plays well, then you have Azareye'h Thomas and Brandon Stevens starting on the outside, Pons in the slot for a year, and Minka as the free safety. That's the best lineup we have right now. And then Dane Belton as the strong safety, which he's good at. He can play that role. He'll be down in the box tackling, which is what he's good at. That's the best. And then you have good backups. You have Nahshon Wright backing up. You have Jarvis Brownlee backing up. You got Sticky Stiggers backing up. That's good backups, good starters, and you solve your free safety problem by having Minka play free safety instead of nickel. So I think that's it. And Dane Belton, you put him in the right spot because he's best as a strong safety, because his strong suit is tackling, and so that is where we will make him do: go into the box and tackle people. For the most part, I mean, they're going to, not always, but for a big percentage of the time, that's the best outcome possible. And then the other beautiful thing about that, then Stevens leaves next year. You just slide Pons to the outside, and now you got two young fellas, Azareye'h and Pons, and if they're both great on the outside, wow, you got two young fellas out there on your boundary corners, and then you either Brownlee shows you enough to keep him, or you just you find one. We got tons of money. You either find a free agent, draft one, whatever it may be, but to have two outside corners, young fellas like that would be fantastic. So that's the proper alignment. Yeah, exactly, Deuteronomy. Matthias says, I don't even like to watch the game with anyone else. I have to watch the game. Right, Matthias? Like, I found last year, if you guys remember, I was doing it with Green Bean and Jeremy, and then at some point I just said, I got to have a timeout. And then I was watching the games on my own, keeping track of what I keep track of, doing what I do, and it was so much more enjoyable. Like, I want to watch the game as like I want to watch the game. I don't want to worry about the chat, what's this person saying, and what's Green Bean need me to do, and there's a sponsorship over here. Now Jeremy's saying something to me, and blah, 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 and it's too much. It's too freaking much, at least for me. So, yeah, I found out that I just like to watch the game, keep track of my little things that I keep track of, in the drive charts, which then become data that we can use and analyze later, by the way. And that's more for the inner circle people. There's so many benefits to being an inner circle person. It'll make your head spin. Right, Phil Adams? But, yeah. I just want to the game itself is enjoyable enough to throw a live stream and reacting and talking to Green Bean and talking to Jeremy and talking to the chat all while I'm watching the game. It's too much. Too much. Phil says, Boss Girl has all the brains. I just got the dance moves. Oh, I see. All right. Sacheti says, a goal of 4-2 against our division would help. Yeah, 4-2. Well, you think about it. We should at least be 3-3. Let's put it that way. Right? 2 wins this year against the Dolphins. Gotta beat the Dolphins this year. If you want to be a big boy club, you got to beat the Dolphins this year. They're rebuilding. They got nothing. That's 2 wins. And then steal one of the two against New England. I think that's very possible. That gets you 3. That's kind of like where I'd like the minimum to be. Then if you could steal one against the Bills as well, hey, now you're overachieving. But 3-3 really should be the way that that we should really hope for. And then 4-2 is like a stretch goal. You ever hear of that, the stretch goal? So, yeah. Matthias Simon, we're thin at linebacker, I think, though. Well, a little bit. I think they think that Kiko is a good plugger. We'll find out if he is or not. He was not last year, but I think they think he is. And remember, you just need 2 really typical linebackers that we think of them. The Baileys, Inagbares, Osais, and McDonald's are going to be considered linebacker, defensive end hybrids. So, but they're not your typical linebackers. We're talking about but mostly you're going to have 2 linebackers on the field at all times. It's going to be DeMario and Sherwood. Then you need a third one sometimes when you come out of nickel, which is very infrequently, and that's going to be Kiko. And then you have backups like Michael Williams and McCrary Ball. So could we use another one? Yeah, I wouldn't mind going and getting a Matt Milano myself. Even an Okereke would be okay, to make a joke. Somebody like that. But if we don't, it's no big deal because you're playing most of the game with 2 linebackers on the field anyways. These days. Matthias says, by week 8, we need to be 4-4. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. In my scenario, I think we were like 7-5. And then, I forget exactly. But yeah, 7-5, 7, well, that was later. So I don't know what we were. But we started off like 3-1. But I mean, 4-4 would be good. You're in the right direction. You've already got more wins this year than the previous year in only 8 games, so that's fine. That's what we call fine. Phil says Sherwood will bounce back. Yeah, I believe so. I think he's going to go back to being an excellent linebacker. All he needed was we asked him to step up, and he couldn't. He didn't. He failed. The NFL is like a bunch of levels. We asked Jamie and Sherwood to go to the higher level. He did not succeed in that mission. So now we're pegging him back down a level. All right, go back down, Jamie. And so now he's back at the level where he was when he had C.J. Mosley here. So now we have a new C.J. Mosley. His name is Demario Davis. And so why can't he flourish? Especially with good coaching. We're going to use him in creative ways. Remember, Aaron Curry was here last year and Washington, and they were bad coaches. We know they were bad coaches because Quincy Williams was getting pissed off at them. You know how hard it is to piss off Quincy Williams? And he was arguing with them about how he should play. And then Quincy, and remember, they benched him for that one game. Remember how stupid that was? We benched Quincy Williams. What are you, out of your fucking mind? For like a series or something it was. Maybe a couple of plays, I forget. But anyway, then he got back in there. And afterward, he said, not afterward, but when he went over to the Browns, they had his introductory press conference, and they asked him about all this. And he said, yeah, then I went in and played the way I thought I should, and I had a great game, so that showed my coach that I was right. Do you understand how fucking terrible of a coach you have to be for that to be the outcome? You think you're so right that you bench Quincy Williams, and then when he gets in there, he does it his way, not even your way, and he has a great game, which he did. And so the player that you were fighting with was right. Correct. That is the worst kind of coaching you could imagine. I mean, this is Adam Gase level. Adam Gase on drugs level. Put it that way. Gase, I think when he's sober, I think he's an okay QB coach, but in over his head as OC and HC, obviously. But, like, this is Gase on drugs level bad. And this is Quincy, someone who's could get along with anybody. And so it just goes to show you that this is what everybody had to deal with, including Jamian. These fucking morons. Now, why did we hire them? I don't know. Obviously, Glenn made a lot of mistakes. You all know that. That's the bad news. The good news, he corrected them. Now we have a good linebacker coach, Coach Bowling. Now we have a good defensive line coach, Coach Dunbar. So the bad news is Glenn made a bunch of mistakes with the coaching hires last year. Okay, that's not so good. But he seems to have quickly corrected himself and now has a good staff. We know they're a good staff. Frank Reich is at least average. He's at least competent, and he's got all these smart guys behind him, Seth Ryan and the Stanford Smarties. So, I mean, and we know Aaron Glenn's a good defensive coordinator. This idea that Aaron Glenn doesn't know how to coordinate a defense, I don't know where that's coming from. His defenses in Detroit got better and better, and they started out with no talent. They added talent, they got better. Added more talent, and they got better and better and better, just like they should. That's what good coaching is. And then last year, they were top 5, I think, in DVOA or something like that, even though they had a lot of injuries. So, yeah. Very, very frustrating. 7-2. Yeah, so I knew it was something like that, Deuteronomy. Imagine the Jets are 7-2. But then we hit that hard stretch, right? You got Kansas City and Buffalo and the Chargers. That's a tough stretch. Joe Mike says, it'll come down to coaching, getting the team prepared and scheming against your weekly opponent. I just think it'll come down to execution, really. I mean, all Geno has to be is what he was in Seattle. I think he's going to be even better, but all he has to be is that. Imagine how good Breece Hall's going to be when he was a top 10. We had a top 10 running offense last year with no quarterback and no threat balance. If Geno's just what he was in Seattle, how much better is that going to be? Huh? Anybody ever think of that? Even though I say it 10,000 times? I mean, our running game last year was like the one thing that was any good, other than the special teams. So we had that going, and now we have a quarterback. You heard Breece. Breece was all excited about Geno coming here. So he knows what's up. It's going to be a big year for old Breece Hall, I think. Matthias says, all we need to see this season is competitive progress. Well, I think we will. We got a much better roster. It's this next draft of Rangers that'll make us a playoff contender. Well, I think we're going to be a playoff contender this year, and then we take it up a notch next year. That's the way I see it. I've shown you the rosters. I've done the blue chip I've done the blue chip analysis. We've seen us compared to others. We're right. We have an equivalent amount of talent as any other team in the AFC East. Now there's Josh Allen and Drake May, so that puts those two ahead of us because those are really good QBs, and we're hoping Geno can get back to Seattle level, which is good. Depends how you look at it. The PFF grades, he was elite, but if you look at things like Anya, average net yards per attempt, he was good. So, it depends how you look at it. GVH, how do you feel about Glenn's ability to run defense and HC duties? What's the HC duties? Calling timeouts? That's not hard. Throwing the red flag? It's not a big deal. You notice all these defensive coaches now come to the same conclusion, right? Robert Saleh, Jeff Hafley, all these, one other one. They all have decided, yeah, I'm head coach, but I'm also calling the defense, and I'm going to do HC. They're all deciding that because they realized the same thing. You heard Saleh talk about it. He said, yeah, when I was the head coach of the Jets and I wasn't calling the defense, there wasn't a lot for me to do on game day. I was, sitting around holding the red flag. That's basically what he said. And all these defensive coaches basically came to the same conclusion. Yeah, you should call the defense. If it's going to be held against you, if your defense doesn't perform well, you damn well better be the one calling it, because then at least you were the one who it's more in your hands. If it's going to be held against you anyway, don't you want something in your, some part of it to be your responsibility in actually calling it? Now the players have to, execute it and all, but That's the way it is, because I think that these people starting to realize now, it doesn't matter who's calling it. They're going to call it Robert Saleh's defense. And it doesn't matter who's calling it. They're going to call it Aaron Glenn's defense. It doesn't matter who's calling it. They're going to call it Jeff Hafley's defense. That's just the way it is. And so if that's the case and you're going to get the blame if it goes bad, don't you want to call it? Aaron Glenn had it exactly right. Take control of it to the degree that you can. They're holding it against you anyways. What else is there to do? Be a cheerleader? We don't need cheerleaders. You know? Might as well. It's not a problem. We got Braden over here. Look at this guy. He's from New Zealand, this Braden fella. Is the outcome of our first game about Glenn versus Saleh or more about Reich versus Daboll? Well, it's not Reich versus Daboll. It's about the Jets versus the Titans, Braden. It's about the whole team. It's about Reich and the offense versus the Titans' defense and Saleh's defense. And Daboll's offense against, our defense and Glenn. That's how it goes. This is, by the way, this is Braden, one of the longest serving people in the inner circle. He comes all the way from New Zealand. Sometimes he listens to the show on a kayak while he's fishing. How many of you go on a kayak and listen to old Frankie? Well, Braden does sometimes. He's out there catching fish on a kayak off the coast of New Zealand. This program, by the way, has viewers and listeners from all over the world. And you could look at Chemtrails, which is the sort of like the written content of FSPN. This is the Chemtrails blog. And you can see here, we've got articles about Cade Klubnik, overlooked gem or overhyped bum, for example. And you might want to read that article. Or you might want to read Hell of a Haul, Brees, the Rooks, and quarterback optionality. The Dogfight, Jets player profile, D'Angelo Pons, cornerback. So forth and so on. Look at all these articles that we have. And to do that, you would go to frankiefromflatbush.substack.com. We also have a podcast. So I'd upload some of these videos, and then Substack makes it a podcast, believe it or not. So if you're somebody who likes to listen on podcast, you might want to check this out. And then look at all these people. Top countries where your audience is coming from. United States, 66%. Sweden, 14%. There's people in Sweden listening to old Frankie on the podcast. Japan, 9%. Can you believe it? 9%. I got people in Japan listening. Listen, folks, if you're watching from Japan, sign in to YouTube and speak now or forever hold your peace. 9%. I got Japanese people. You know how awesome Japan is? What a wonderful country. 9% of the podcast audience coming from Japan, the land of the rising sun. What about Germany? 4%. There's people in Germany, Deutschland, listening to old Frankie. Then we got New Zealand, 3%. I suspect this is old Braden right here. But then we also got Mongolia, people in Mongolia checking it out, Belgium, and Mexico. So there's people all over the world, just like Braden, checking out the podcast. So you can check out the podcast if you like to get your info via audio. We have that available too. But the articles, and that's mostly just it's almost all just the videos in audio format. But the articles are totally different. Phil says, Chemtrails is good reading. Yeah. Hank G says, no Canada. Wow. Fuck Canada. That's what I say. Hank G says, I guess I count as German. No, it's got to be listening in Germany. You can't just be of German descent, Hank. You got to actually be there. Like old Braden here, he's in New Zealand, so it records where his location is. No fishing today. doing St. Louis style ribs on the barrel smoker. Yum, yum. So there you go. He's smoking his meats. Yeah, being a meat smoker over there, in New Zealand, with his ribs, cooking it up, listening to old Frankie. Why not? I mean, you could be in Japan and you could be watching old Frankie, listening on the podcast, watching, reading chemtrails, Frankie from flatbush.substack.com. And by the way, if you support independent media, it's cool to support it on YouTube. That's good. But also, there's a lot of independent creators on Substack on all sorts of topics. So you say you hate the big media, the mainstream media. You hate Brian Costello and Country Club Connor and Zach the Hack Rosenblatt. All right, well, how many creators are you supporting on Substack? That's where they are. All kinds of topics. Doesn't have to be the Jets, football, sports, baseball, anything that you're interested in. People are writing blogs on Substack and having podcasts and video and audio and threads and everything else on Substack. So check out Substack. Even if you don't want to check out old Frankie, you'll find something you like, and then you sign up for it. It comes right in your email inbox, and you wake up and you're like, oh, there's a new article here. Oh, click on this. Read about kayak fishing in New Zealand. Okay. Whatever you're interested in. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that. Phil says, worked in Japan in the 90s. I was the tallest person in the city of 750,000. Well, I've never been to Japan, but I love Japan. Anyways. I played Ghost of Tsushima. If you play Ghost of Tsushima, you will love Japan, I think. And plus, the Japanese people are awesome. They're cool. They have a good economy. We like them. And 9% of the podcast audience coming from Japan. Hey, let's give it up for Japan. Hey, how about Japan over there? Hey, we got a little Japanese over there. Hey, nice. Nicely done. Jefe says, I was talking about that. Frankie is the NFL's nest. No, Shichetti, don't worry about that. Because I was thinking about that. That's something that came out today. I was thinking about it. But the Jets, if you think about it, they're not getting any benefit. When you have a short week and then you have a long week and all this, we just have the same weeks. I would rather have the regular schedule every single week, same exact time. We're not getting, a lot of these teams, they have the mini buys, and some of them are playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and crazy days. But then after they play that, they have a lot of time off, right? So they're getting the benefit of that. But they also have to play on short week. And so no, I would rather have the regular Sunday, 1 o'clock. There's a big benefit to that. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. Braden says, who is the guy from England on Substack that you put me onto a few years back, Braden? You think I remember, Braden? I got a lot going on, Braden. I don't know. He probably turned out to be a loser anyways. Jefe says, now I'm hungry. Deuteronomy says, I took Japanese at New Paltz. Well, look, I think we should all take Japanese. I mean, let's think about it. We all need to know how to say sushi. You know how to say sushi in Japanese? Sushi. It's a Japanese word. That's a trick question. Konnichiwa. These types of things. Why not? It's a fascinating culture, a wonderful people. They have an amazing history. If you learn even just a little bit, you'll fall in love with it because it's amazing. What a country. What a people and what a culture. And they listen to old Frankie, so they have to have good taste, right? They're listening to a podcast of old Frankie, so therefore they must have great taste. That's what I think. Phil Adams says, never had a bad meal in Japan, and all you had to do was hold the door open for a gal, and they wanted to marry you on the spot. Well, They probably saw a big, tall Englishman, and they were like, "Oh, this guy's got money. let me let me see what I can extract out of this gentleman over here." Joe Mike says, Colts schedule looks daunting. Love having their pick next year, yeah? Of course, keep in mind, you don't know how things are going to go. Guys are going to get injured. Teams are going to be surprised. Winners, losers. This team takes off like a rocket. Hopefully that's us. This other team that was supposed to be good, now they're no good. This team got their quarterback injured, blah, 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 blah. So it's hard really to project, but yeah, it does look bad. Somebody who is an expert about the Colts predicted 4 wins for them. Cuatro that I saw. There's somebody who's a knowledgeable, who follows the Colts closely, said 4 wins. That'll do it. That'll do. We'll take it. we will take it. Imagine if that happens. Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Soba noodles. Yeah. Wriggle. Thankfully, we don't have international games. Yeah, exactly. You lose a load of game prep time, traveling, and all of that. Yeah, absolutely. Jersey for Hawk, turning Japanese is a cool rock song. Yeah, that's true, but the culture goes way deeper than that, Jersey for Hawks. Yeah, one-hit wonder. And Japanese culture is kind of fascinating because you have the samurais, you got the ninjas, you got the shoguns, you got all sorts of kind of like militia-ish type groups, and they all live by a certain code. That's what I like about it. You always got a code to live by, and they're very strict about staying on the code. And if you violate the code, you are shamed, greatly in your community and by your family. Like living by certain, rules and codes is very important in a lot of Asian cultures. And so it's kind of a fascinating thing. Kind of a fascinating thing. All right. So with that being said, I'll put out last call for comments, questions, anything else people want to talk about. Otherwise, we'll just wrap it up and get ready for Sunday. We got 10 a.m. on Sunday. We got Coffee with Frankie. And for those people who are subscribed to the old Chemtrails newsletter here, right here, Chemtrails, Frankie from flatbush.substack.com. If you're subscribed to this, you'll get a new column on Sunday morning. It's going to be the Sunday Jets letter, which is like a newsletter on all sorts of news items, odds and ends. And so you see what these articles are like. Here we have Cade Klubnik talking about that. And I named the quarterback brain trust the QBBT, the Quibbit of the Jets. And I think we should start calling the quarterback brain trust the Quibbit. Frank the Comeback King Reich, Billy Moose Gravy Musgrave, and Bougie Darren Mougey. And I go through some of the things with that. And then we talk about the Redemption Tour and hotel walkthroughs, and we link to some, videos sometimes. In this case, First Down Training was saying Cade Klubnik has a perfect throwing form, perfect mechanics. And then, I asked AI, roughly over the past 15 years, what are the odds that a drafted NFL quarterback turns out to be a long-term starter? And AI went and researched it and said roughly 15 to 20%. So that's all the drafted quarterbacks. You got a 15 to 20% chance that they become a 5-year starter. So I lay out the optionality that the Quibbit has come up with, the QBBT, the quarterback brain trust, the Quibbit. Option 1, Geno balls out. Option 2, develop Cade Klubnik so you can see what he can become. And then option 3, draft a new hotshot in round 1 of next year. And here you see pictured the 3 options. Maybe Geno works out as a short-term solution. Maybe Cade Klubnik develops in time, or maybe we go into the draft and grab mystery quarterback number 3 over here with one of our 3 picks. And so That's a good way to do it. The upshot of the Quibbit, and then a link to another Frankie video, because I mentioned the NFL Ghetto, so I link to the video. So that's kind of a preview of sorts of what you get when you sign up at frankiefromflatbush.substack.com. And you can choose the free option. You can also pay if you want, but most people would choose the free option. My missing finger got lots of looks in the bars. Maybe that's too much information, Phil. Sacheti, what about sumo wrestlers? Yeah, they're interesting. All right, so I guess nothing else for the Jets. All right, well, we'll wrap it up for this evening. Thank you for joining. I'll see you Sunday, 10 a.m., and we'll go live again and see if there's any news of the day. But otherwise, have a great weekend, everybody.